Okay, so memory time again, because it's time. It's been a while. I don't know, a month, couple of weeks, something weird like that. And because I have time for a minute, I can actually do one. So, every single time I work with a client at the AMC Theater in Temecula, I always have the memory of going to the theater with my mother and uncle, and this was in 1986. So, this one particular day, when I stayed with them at, this is at in Thousand Trails in Pio Pico, which is in the San Diego, California area, up in the mountains there. I don't remember what the mountains or hills are called. It wasn't like mountains like Big Bear or Lake Arrowhead or Mount Baldy. It wasn't mountains like that. It's like kind of like a mountain valley. I'd actually have to look it up to actually see where it was actually located. But it was about approximately 45 minutes or so from the Motel 6 where we managed in San Ysidro. So anyway, I was with them staying, and my mother had me go take out the trash. And me being me, got sidetracked. I took out the trash outside of the RV because she told me to take out the trash in that dumpster in the campsite that they were at, not up by the clubhouse where the little store was located, where I did before this one particular time, and they went looking for me because I didn't know there was a trash can over by the picnic table in their area. So I walked out and I put the trash in, and I was just kind of like standing there, and I noticed a butterfly. Yeah, I was 21 years old, but things did capture my attention. And this butterfly, it was a big butterfly. It was actually a tiger swallowtail butterfly, and it was pretty. It was yellow, had black around it, purple dots. I mean, they're pretty butterflies actually. So I saw it and I was like following it, and kind of got a little distracted. And so, as usual, they took off looking for me. And my mother was not a happy camper because, one, they didn't find me. And I don't know, I was gone for several minutes, apparently. And anyway, I came back and got a lecture, got swatted, and Uncle Bud was sitting at the dining room table looking at the newspaper. Well, because I dilly-dallied and got sidetracked watching this butterfly, or chasing the butterfly and other critters or insects around the area, and then I got sidetracked by a dog. They weren't going to make the whatever showing of this movie that Uncle Bud wanted to watch. And so they had to go to the next one, and whichever one that was at. And I coming down from Pio Pico, I don't think it came down into Chula Vista. I said I'd have to look it up to see where it comes down at, because I don't remember. Because when we would go shopping and do our banking and stuff like that, it would be in Chula Vista, which was the next town area over, or big area over from where San Ysidro is located. I don't know how that area is now. I haven't been down there for decades. Really have no desire or interest to go. Have no reason to go. But anyway, so they decide, okay, Uncle Bud really wanted to see this movie. I don't know what movie it was. And so we go after my lecture of taking off, because I've done that before at the Thousand Trails and they had to come looking for me. Yeah, I got in trouble for that too. But so anyway, we go, and I'm sitting in the car, told to behave myself, and I mean, I was 21 years old. Did my mother ever think about that? No. Did I? Heck no. I was young and I just wanted to do what I wanted to do. And she was always teaching me that I can't always do what I want to do. And when I am with her, I mind her. I listen to her. I do as she says. Or else. And I always knew what the or else was. But that still didn't stop my young curiosity of doing things. I always knew what the punishment would be, but it still didn't stop me. So we're driving down, and I'm being quiet, and I sit behind her seat on the right-hand side, and I always needed to sit on the left-hand side because I'd get car sick. But I was sitting behind her, and she's watching me out from the mirror. And she'd always do that, or she'd pull down the visor and slide open the mirror and watch me. Keep an eye on me. So we're driving down the mountain from Thousand Trails. I go into the theater, go in, and they paid for 2 tickets. 2 tickets! There's 3 of us. They paid for 2 tickets. Because guess who didn't get to watch the movie? Me. Because I don't even remember what they went and seen, but Uncle Bud wanted to see this movie. I didn't get to go. They didn't take me into the theater. I went inside the theater, but not into the movie theater. And I was told to go sit down. I was sitting on the floor up against the wall in this movie theater, and told to stay there and don't move. And I didn't say anything. I mean, it's like, yes, ma'am. I did what she told me. And so I'm thinking, okay, are they going to come get me? And so they go and get concession. They get something to drink. Uncle Bud got his popcorn, because Uncle Bud always got popcorn. And I had been to the movie theater with them a couple of times. So they're going off, and I get to get up, and I thought maybe at first, because he paid for 2 tickets, maybe I was free, or maybe it was a 2 for 1 deal, whatever it was, And no, she told me to go sit down over there and wait for them. And they went inside the movie theater, and I remember sitting in there just watching the people come and go, thinking, that's kind of mean. Why'd they do that? They didn't take me to see the movie. And so at one point, after whatever time passed, here comes Uncle Bud, goes to the concession to get more popcorn. I guess he wanted a refill. And of his drink. And went potty. A little while later, here comes my mother. Comes out, comes and checks on me. I told her I needed to go to the bathroom. I went to the bathroom. Come out of the bathroom. Sits me right where I was at. Told me stay, don't go anywhere. She goes off into the theater. So, I got nothing. And after the movie, they're coming out, and I thought, okay, she's going to come for me, because she told me to stay right where I was at. They start walking out of the movie theater. I mean, out of the doors of the theater. I thought, would they forget that I'm here? So I get up, and I start walking out, and I'm standing outside, and there they are. They're walking out to the car, so I just kind of followed, and then she stopped. Oh, we forgot Teresa. Really? And I'm standing right there, and I said, I saw you walking. I didn't start crying, but I had teary eyes. I started to cry, but I didn't. And get inside the car. So, get inside the car, and We drive back to Thousand Trails. And it was towards, I'm going to say early evening. And mind you, they had drinks, popcorn, hot dogs at the theater. I hadn't eaten. And I think they played a game with me that day, that particular time. And anyway, then she gets me ready for bed. And I remember laying on the couch thinking, aren't you going to feed me? So, anyway, puts me to bed, says my prayers, blah, blah, blah. And she goes into their room. Uncle Bud's got the TV on. They had a small TV that we actually gave to them from Thousand Trails that Tony and I got during a Thousand Trails presentation thing. And that was one of the gifts, to listen to their seminar speech for 2.5 hours. And we just gave it to him. We didn't need a TV. We had TVs from Motel 6. We didn't need a TV set. So it was a small one, and we gave it to Uncle Bud, so that's the TV he was watching. I remember laying on the couch thinking, after my prayers and stuff, and my mother went into the bedroom, you didn't feed me today. I had a piece of toast and coffee for breakfast. That was it. I didn't have lunch, didn't have supper, no snacks, no nothing, and I didn't ask. And it was still in the early stages, pretty much, of mother and daughter. And I just didn't say anything. Actually, it was, this happened before I asked her for the adoption, I believe. Or it was when I asked her for the adoption and I wasn't adopted yet in that time period. Because this was summertime of 1986. And anyway, I'm just like laying there. And I ended up going to sleep. But she had came out, was up inside of, they have above their dining room table in that particular RV were cabinets above where the dining room table was, and I heard her go up there and open and close, open and close, open, close. There's 3 cabinets, open cabinets, closed cabinets above, and getting stuff out. I was just still laying there, like I was acting like I was asleep, but then I rolled over and had my eyes open, thinking that maybe she'd come over there, but she didn't. And got stuff and went inside their bedroom, and they were eating whatever it is that she got out of there. Potato chips, cookies, snack cakes, whatever it was. I don't know. And I was like, did she even forget that I am even with her? So anyway, the next morning came, and I had coffee, I believe, with her. Didn't have breakfast, because they would normally get like meal tickets from the Thousand Trails, but they got their meal tickets for at night for supper. Is what they did, and we were not there when they had the supper the night before when they went to the movie theater. They didn't buy the tickets for it, and it was just a weird visit is what happened, and I didn't quite understand it. And so it was before, afternoon, they brought me back to the Motel 6 in San Ysidro, stayed a little bit, and they left. And Tony and I I believe we went to Denny's. Denny's was on the same property as our motel. And, but before that, I was in the apartment. I had paperwork I had to do. Went and did that. And, was acting funny that whole entire day after they dropped me off. And Tony had asked me, what's wrong? He goes, did anything happen while, you were up at, with Aunt Marie and Uncle Bud? And I said, yeah, but I don't understand. I was trying to think of what happened. And so he asked me what happened. I told him about the butterfly thing. We went to the movies and stuff like that. And I said, she forgot to feed me. I said, I didn't eat for like almost 2 days. And I said, she never did that before. And I said, I thought maybe I was being punished, because I took off from the RV site chasing after a butterfly. And, Tony thought that was kind of odd and stuff like that. And he goes, well, maybe they ran out of money. And I go, I don't know. I said, because they never did that with me before. And, the one time I went to the movie theater with him, I fell asleep. Whatever movie it was, I guess I wasn't interested in it or something like that, or I was just tired, and I fell asleep on my mother's arm, side. And so that's the thing. And she had to wake me up, and I thought at first, maybe that's why they didn't pay for me to go inside the theater. And Tony's like, maybe. And I go, but she forgot to feed me. She didn't feed me. And Tony's like, huh? He goes, that's weird. And it was weird. So I don't know. It was pretty weird. And so anyway, about, I don't know, like a week later, they came back to our motel, and I've indicated before in videos years past that they had a key to their motel room. They had their own motel room that they had picked out, and and I would never rent it, because they could come and go as they pleased. It was like one of those rooms that was a permanent gratis, and I had them double flagged, which was called flags, these plastic cards inside the key slots inside the office, and I had them double flagged and told all the desk clerks, do not book that room. No circumstance, whatever. This one night, actually, my nighttime desk clerk, James, booked it. He rented it, and I'm like, oh, it was after, like, I don't know, 11, 12, 1 o'clock in the morning, whatever it was, and he booked the room. I was pissed, though, because I told him, never rent that room out. Never. It's like, our relief room that's next to our apartment. You never rent that out until last resort. This is not that exception. It never gets rented out. Don't ever do it. Because I don't know whenever my aunt and uncle are showing up. Because I didn't. There was times that I didn't know when they'd come. And, so they ended up coming, and I was acting indifferent towards my mother. And she sat me, she goes, darling, she goes, what's wrong? There's something on your mind. I know there's something on your mind. You come and tell me. And I told her that I was sorry that I disobeyed her, and I left the RV site, and I chased after the butterfly. And she's like, that was over and done with. And stuff. And I'm like, is there a reason why I said that you didn't feed me? And she looked at me and she goes, what are you talking about? I go, I was with you for a couple of days. And I said, all I ate was a piece of toast, I said, and had coffee with you this one morning. And she looked at me and I said, you and Uncle Bud went to the theater. I wasn't allowed to go inside the theater, I said, and see a movie with you. I said, because you told me to sit down up against the wall, and I just went through the whole entire thing with her. You left me there, and I said, and I followed you outside, and then you realized, oh, Teresa's here. Oh, I have to go get her, and I was right there, behind her, in the parking lot. I said, and when we got back to and she looked kind of like shocked, mortified, kind of embarrassed. And I said, when we got back to the RV, I go, we were there for, I don't know, an hour or two. I said, then you put me to bed. I said, and it's like you forgot about me. I said, I didn't get supper. She looked at me. She didn't say anything yet. And it just like hit her. Oh, oops. And she goes, darling, she goes, I am so sorry. She goes, why didn't you say anything? And I said, well, because I said, I thought you were punishing me. And I said, because I took off chasing that butterfly. And she had said that, well, I was being punished because I took off and was chasing the butterfly, but she didn't mean not to feed me. And she said, don't ever let that happen again. She goes, if you're ever hungry, she goes, you come and tell me that you're hungry and I'll make you a sandwich or something. And I'm like, well, I didn't know what to do because I didn't. I told her I was afraid I'd get in trouble or something. And she said, I'm not going to spank you. She goes, because you're coming to me and telling me that you're hungry. So that never happened again. But I always got fed. But that particular time I didn't. And I always remember the thing about the movie thing when I'm sitting there watching my client cleaning the lobby, sweeping popcorn and stuff, and kids running around and people coming and going inside the theater. And I always remember that. I've been remembering that for the last, 4 years that I've been going to the AMC, seeing my client at least maybe once a month, or sometimes twice a month, sometimes more. It just depends. And I always remember that. Always. And I'm like, man, I need to do a video on that. But I said it was just the weirdest thing. She did not feed me. That she forgot I was with her. Even though I was in the RV, or in their car. They walked out of the theater and she just, oh, oops. She said, I told you I apologize for that. And she might have, I don't remember, but she probably did. Oh, oops, Teresa. We forgot Teresa. Yeah, I never didn't not tell her I was hungry. If I was hungry, I let her know I was hungry, unless she was punishing me. Like, I told the story about throwing the hamburger at Nana and splattering her on her face, and actually the hamburger pieces, guts went all over everybody, actually. But the main hamburger, right across Nana's face, on her blouse and stuff like that. Classic. Yeah, I got my rear end whipped real good, and the back of my legs whipped for that. Yeah, I didn't sit down very well that day. But I got punished about, I wasn't allowed to eat either, except Uncle Bud, when I was staying with him that night. Uncle Bud told her to go make me a sandwich because I was crying because my stomach hurt. Because I hadn't eaten for like almost 2 days that time period. Because I didn't eat a whole lot. But that was the only time I ever got sent to bed without anything to eat. But this was, I don't know, she just said she forgot. She goes, I'm sorry, darling, that just happens sometimes when you're a parent. And I'm like, did you ever forget to feed Karen and Rita? How could you do that? I mean, I just told her, I said, I thought maybe you didn't have any food. Or you and Uncle Bud ran out of money. And I go, you put me to bed, said my prayers, and she said, and you should have said something to me. Well, didn't you think that you didn't feed me? Because they had hot dogs at the theater. and popcorn and something to drink. And I said, and you didn't even give me anything to drink. She felt bad. But, and like I said, that never happened again. But anyway, that's what I wanted to share. And I'll share more later.